Yo, how's it going? We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get into it. Every good boss has good employees. And when you have good employees, you have to give them a lot. So that's why we have interns instead of employees. Just like villains have henchmen or mobs. We are not a villain though. Isn't that right, Christian and Joseph? Wonderful. Now can you two move the rest of our stuff into the office? Alright, what game are we playing today? Mobs Incorporated. Everyone has their bad days every once in a while. Maybe you stubbed your toe. Maybe you got sick. Maybe your power went out. Maybe you lost something. Maybe you got a divorce. Maybe you shouldn't have put a ring on it. You ever think of that? The ones who have the worst days are mobs. Not those kinds of mobs. These kinds of mobs. Every day they wake up with one purpose, and that's to get slain by whoever's controlling the character killing them. Such a tragedy it is for these poor lads and ladettes. Did you know that's an actual word? We didn't know until Joseph searched it up. Mobs don't get enough appreciation, and it's not their fault, it's the creator's fault. Shame on you for not making these mobs better. For the creator of Mobs Incorporated, round of applause for giving the mobs some power. You fight off some heroes, and for your work you can move up the corporate ladder of mobs until you can become an elite mob. It's a fun game. We recommend playing this. What would you do in a game if you couldn't hack away at a few flimsy little guys trying to kill you, then make you realize that you didn't save, so now you have to start an hour's worth of gameplay all over again? Now you just spiral out of control in a fit of rage. And you burn the house down. Yup. What can you do without them? Not every game has mobs, but the ones that do have mobs tend to have them fall under the categories of humans, robots, aliens, or monsters. We were thinking about putting aliens in the monster category, and they definitely can be. But because aliens might exist, we're gonna put them in their own category. By the way, aliens, if you do exist, please have some good space food to eat. We could really use a change in our diet. Alien concepts are stellar, but one thing you typically notice with alien designs is they're very humanoid. Talk about biases, huh? Monster type mobs are also pretty shway. One of the most used types of monsters are zombies or the undead. When have you not played a game with the undead where there's not hordes of zillions upon zillions of them coming after you, especially with games like Left 4 Dead, Dying Light, and Dead Rising. Then under the monsters category, you also got your demons, orcs, goblins, experiments gone wrong, and so forth. Robots have become even more prevalent as our world continues to advance forward with technology. There's pretty interesting designs for robot mobs, which is shway because some of the stuff in day-to-day life really does give off the whole Terminator feeling. It's like any piece of machinery you see has the vibe of, if you turn around, it's going to activate a kill switch to begin the robot insurrection. We've never been more afraid of the toaster in the break room than now, especially when we use the microwave. It's like the toaster is jealous that its only function is making toast while the microwave gets all the attention. Think we might have to get rid of the toaster. Alas, the final group of mobs is probably the worst. Humans. Pitting our own kind against one another just like in reality. It's terrible. Not really though, because no one's actually getting hurt in this, and they're just ones and zeros on the screen. It's all good. In some games, the narrative is what matters, or what progresses one's ability to handle situations. Emily is away, Firewatch, What Remains of Edith Finch, Night in the Woods, and the classic Tetris are some examples of games with no mobs in them, or combat for that matter. In games with mobs, the mobs are used to grant players experience, to level up, or to drop items, to improve the character's looks, or give good stats. Mobs are also used as a means to challenge players throughout the game. They make it fun. Well, they should, right? Sometimes mobs can be way too annoying and make players wish the game never existed. That's when you have to contemplate whether developers weren't aware of how difficult it would be to handle these mobs, or if they just enjoy players being miserable. Mobs should also be a part of world building. You know, making the game come to life by showing players the world they are in. Let's say if the world is one where rocks took over, you're gonna want rock-like enemies, but not just a rock with legs. You want something that shows players that these are the enemies for this game. This is what makes them unique. When there's mobs in games, there's usually a difficulty level attached to them. The mobs kind of just have a meeting to decide who is better than who, then they make this hierarchy, but they aren't able to go beyond the mob status. That's reserved for the bosses. The bosses decide who can get a promotion. There are some games where this is an exception, where the mobs are given the opportunity to earn a higher spot in the mob hierarchy, like this game. In the Middle-earth games Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, the orcs are able to do just that. You can be fighting off a bunch of them, then one of them delivers the final blow, and in that moment they get a promotion. This was one of the things that made the game stand out to us, and it was really shui. One time we were playing, there was an orc who killed us, and we went straight after them, thinking it would be no problem. Wanna guess what ended up happening the first time? Alright, so the first time didn't go well, but the next time we faced, he was not going to get a promotion. We probably tried 10 times to kill this orc who moved their way up the mob hierarchy and became king of the orcs. He would always insult us whenever we encountered him. It was no joke. Until we finally got him, and it was satisfying. Although tedious, it was fun to have this interaction in the game. Mobs are relatively a small thing in the game, but they are still a part of it. It's like living life. Small things in life like eating, watching a movie or show, going out for a walk, and playing a game. These are all pretty small things that when you add them all up, make day-to-day life. It's nice. Those moments shouldn't be overlooked as nothing, you know? You gotta appreciate them, because who knows when the next time you're going to spend time with people you love, or have time for yourself. Small things, they matter. Some of our favorite mobs are the Hydralisk from StarCraft. In StarCraft 2, they aren't that big of a deal, but in StarCraft 1, those things were beasts for the Zergs. On the Protoss side, we love the Dragoons. Another mob we like are the Lickers in Resident Evil 2. In the remake, these things look gnarly. Octoroks from the Legend of Zelda series, those mutated crabs from Metal Slug along with the regular soldiers. Who can forget mobs from the classic that is Super Mario Bros. The Goombas and the Koopa Troopers are neat, and you can use them to help you flip and flop your way into the castle. Good gameplay, even if we aren't the best at platformers. It's still fun. The mobs that have an impact in their world through gameplay and story, those are the mobs that stand out. We applaud them for that. Games are overall a small thing that are a part of life. And you know what? That's pretty shui. Because these games have brought some good times along with all the mobs in them that make it fun. At the end of the day though, they are mobs and not the boss. It's good being the boss. Wait, what are all these papers doing on our...